Hello everyone and welcome to another banner review with me, Umber Rays, and today, oh good, the music is going. We are going to be taking a look at the new Christmas units, and yes, the banners are already up. It does make it for a little bit more just nicer to make these unit reviews when I have something to look at, and you have something to look at too. So let's talk about Felix as well as Tiana. Now, we'll start with Tiana. Tiana is one that I'm just not quite sure what I think of her, but let's start with her Trust Mastery. Her Trust Mastery, Disastrous Formula, 15 Magic, 10 Spirit, Magic plus 20%, MP plus 20%, Auto Refresh at 5%. Disastrous Formula is an accessory, and it's just really kind of a weird accessory that doesn't really specialize in anything. It doesn't have anything super nice like elemental resistance. Trust me, global people, you'll get there. You'll soon find out just how important elemental resistance is and that you really, really want it. And besides just Garnet, you want other sources of it. But yeah, this TMR doesn't feel that great. It feels for a mixed unit. Maybe you could put this on a healer, I guess, or someone who wants MP refresh or more MP. I mean, it's not bad. It's just kind of not that great in any particular aspects. It just feels like a mixed bag. Super Trust Mastery is Flask of Uncertainty, a 60 attack, 170 magic plus 30%. And it is a throwing weapon. And here's the thing. I realized that people did comment basically on who does use throwing weapons. Ace, who is totally irrelevant now on the JP side, unless that's the only thing you have. And the other option is Rinoa, who has a Super TMR, her TMR is already a throwing weapon. So until the Super TMR update comes out, and even then, Rinoa still doesn't feel that great ever in terms of a build, unfortunately, because Rinoa is like one of my favorite characters. But yeah, Flask of Uncertainty, probably good on Tiana and maybe some global exclusive, but just doesn't feel that great. Also, I just need to really quickly okay, all right, but continuing on, looking at her passives and her stats with passives, she has a very, very, very high magic, even a high HP too. MP is good, Spirit is decent. Looking at her kit, she is a damage dealer / healer, which, okay, so let me talk about the things I like about Tiana first. First of all, she does have a fair amount of elemental selection. She has wind, she has fire, she has water, she has lightning. Each of these do a different thing as well. Water debuffs the enemy for 3 turns, 50% to spirit and defense. Wind just is AoE multi-hits, or fire, sorry, is AoE multi-hits. Wind adds wind resistance to the party, and basically, yeah, she does actually remind me of a very specific character on the JP side, which is the new Dark Mage Golbez, who is a 5-star base Golbez. Kind of has that same kind of kit, except for a couple of things. One thing, Dark Mage Golbez is stronger than Tiana by a fair amount, and he doesn't have the healing package. He basically has summon damage instead, which kind of makes Dark Mage Golbez better. And that's kind of the thing about Tiana. Tiana isn't necessarily bad by any means. I mean, I like her elemental selection. Oh, she also has Earth too, that ups damage on it. I guess Earth is her big thing. But her earth chaining, to my knowledge, is Quake, and Quake is just not a great chaining family by any means. Tornado beats it pretty much all the time, unless the enemy is wind resistant, and even then I would still try and find a different form of chaining, not Quake chaining. So yeah, Quake just doesn't feel that great, and yeah, her general kit, I mean, it is kind of interesting that she does have some healing. She actually has ways to unlock or give some higher modifiers by using things like Formula Starfall, which is a pretty powerful magic attack that adds, you know, some boost to her other attacks for 3 turns, but it's on a 6-turn cooldown and it's available turn 6, so it's not that great. Unstable Concoction, which does give her access to quadricasting, and basically the way I've understood Tiana is that she's kind of Transterra's partner, what some people are saying Christine should have been. But the modifiers on Tiana here just don't feel that well. Yes, her fire attack is Chaos Wave Chaining. I'm sure somebody's already complained about that in the comments. It's fine. But here's the... Alright, before I give the lowdowns of what I think of Tiana, let's just look at the rest of her kit. She gets extra magic for equipping a throwing weapon, which is only her super TMR, and there isn't a huge great selection of throwing weapons, I don't think. Hope's TMR, I guess if you have it, because it's magic focused, but other than that, I don't know. Maybe there is something, but it doesn't really matter. She has some, some good passives in her kit, some, everything that you kind of want, I guess, on her. She has dual casting, a lot of her abilities for pretty, just permanent use. Getting into her 7-star, her quadricasting turn 1 is great for burst damage if you're bursting with Transterra. 2 Transterras probably still works perfectly well, but in a 10-man trial, I guess this is, good. She has enough passives and everything, and she has some linked abilities that are interesting. Her Limit Burst 7-star is at 1200% magic attack, ignoring 50% spirit, and AoE healing, both HP and MP, and giving quadricast. And generally her kit feels, complete. I think she has some good stuff there, some nice elemental coverage. But when it comes to Tiana, there's one thing that really stands out glaringly. If you want a magic damage dealer, Ellie from the Xenogears ban is gonna just take Tiana and slide her across the floor on her face. And Transterra too. Basically every mage in the entire game loses out very hard to Ellie. And of course that is assuming that nothing global exclusive comes out before then that is like Ellie. But Ellie is just the supreme mage in terms of damage dealing. The healing here is nice, but I don't know, a lot of the times it feels like healing, if you have a 5-star base healer, and if you have a 7-star healer, then you're probably just not going to need the extra healing anyway, since healers can most of the time take care of it. Backups are nice, but yeah, Tiana, in terms of magic damage, just doesn't feel like she's going to cut it, especially in potentially the short run. Whenever Xenogears comes out and Ellie gets here, I'll praise her, and I guess to a lesser extent Maria too, just because I'm not as crazy about Maria. But moving on, let's talk about everyone's favorite toy soldier, because he's the only toy soldier in the game. Let's talk about Felix. Now, Felix is a hybrid damage dealer. His Trust Mastery is Animated Essence, 20 attack, 20 magic, on a ability, or it's not an ability, is it? No. Self, 20% Confused Disease, 50% Poison, Self, 20% Blind, Sleep. But that has to be just formatted wrong. I guess I can just look right on here. Yeah, it's a little... I mean, it seems okay, I guess. Looking at his Super Trust Mastery, though, that's the thing that I'm really interested in anyway. Animated Essence, you equip it to him if you have a 7-star, because that's the way 7-stars work. Super Trust Mastery is far more interesting. 45 attack, 45 magic, and 10 defense and 10 spirit. This is just a very, very powerful light armor, and it would be just if we stop there, but 10% extra to magic and attack, 30% fire and 30% earth resistance. This is bananas and nuts in terms of Super Trust Masteries. It is very strong. It rivals Luneth's Super TMR, which is still one of the, highest attack armors on the JP side. Light armor is pretty much accessible to a lot of people, and for hybrid units this just feels really strong. And you could potentially still put it on a mage and get a lot out of it too. So yeah, Felix is just pretty great for a Super TMR. Looking at pots and passives, what I really like about Felix too as a hybrid unit is that he is attack and magic balanced, which is really, really great. I absolutely just love that hybrids that are perfectly balanced in this feels, and that is something that Felix, it's almost like he was made this way. Get it? Because he's a toy soldier. Anyway, moving on. Looking at his kit revolves around a certain couple of things. One, he is a very much a chainer DPS. Equipment-wise, you know, daggers, swords, great swords, katanas, whips, guns. He has a pretty good selection of equipment into the future, especially for, you know, some things. But as a hybrid, he is very much going to want to find a nicely balanced weapon for attack or magic, or just going straight in on attack or magic. No rods isn't great if you wanted to build him magically. Not to say anything bad, just kind of weird, or not so good here. Looking at his kit, some of the things that he does have in it. Well, first of all, I guess we'll start with a limit burst. Toy volley fire debuffs AoE 100% for fire and earth resistance for 3 turns. It's a 3000 AoE hybrid attack that is 15 hits too, and it only costs 30 crystals, and it debuffs attack and magic 70% for 3 turns. Feels like a very strong limit burst. High percentage on it, debuffs for his 2 elements that he is good at, and attack and magic debuffing is good for survivability. So I think it's really, really good. Passive wise, you know, he has true dual hand, he has extra attack and magic, again, to be balanced with one another. He can use any 2 of his salute abilities in a turn. He has some counters, he has, you know, lots of passives for everything. Good amount of true dual hand for both attack and magic too, which feels pretty nice. Again, just working towards being balanced. All you need is a perfectly balanced weapon here, and he might be the kind of one of the easiest to build for hybrids to be balanced. Now, looking at the rest of his kit, I mean, so his salute abilities can give him fire to his attacks for multiple turns, or earth, and those are octo slash chaining, which is really nice to have. He has ways to buff himself. He has hybrid attacks that also self heal him for HP and MP, so that's good for long-term fights. He can give himself extra plant killer, although when do you really see plant killer that much? Unfortunately, Toy Pellet Hail and Toy Pellet Ember are not included in his salute double casting, because those are some of his, you know, just debuff abilities for his elements, so it kind of not the greatest synergy. And then Toy Pop Blast, which debuffs 75% for both elements and enables access to another ability for 1 turn. While it is all, you know, really nice, Toy Pop is not included in his salutes, so you can't double cast them, so getting the elemental debuff is not the easiest. Then looking at his 7-star Combat Discipline, his cooldown, available turn 1, 5-turn cooldown, removes all status effects from the caster. I guess if he's not paralyzed, it's fine, although he might have paralysis immunity. You get my... Can't remove him if he's stunned. Anyway, a self 200% attack and magic buff, which for 3 turns, which is nice. It's 3000 HP barrier for 3 turns, and a self 3200 MP heal with a 5x mod and some MP 200 MP back. Really nice, just general heal. The fact that it's available turn 1 means that it's just there. You may not necessarily want to use turn heal on turn 1, but whenever you want to use it, I mean, the buffs on it are nice, so yeah. Anyway, Ember Blade Frenzy, which is a 3200% hybrid attack, enables access to salute. Basically, his salute abilities, triple casting for 2 turns, enables access to salute, Blade Rush, salute Blade Storm for 2 turns, 4-turn cooldown, available for turn 4. This I'll talk about in a second. And Wooden Blade Frenzy, basically the same kind of thing, that gives him triple cast for salute abilities for 2 turns, and access to those other abilities on 4-turn cooldown, available turn 4. While I think that his octo-slash chaining is fine, although the hybrid percentages on it aren't anything really that great, Toy Pop Blast being just kind of awkwardly out of his, so he can't really debuff effectively. And last but not least, the Wooden Blade Frenzy. Here's the thing, Wooden Blade Frenzy and Ember Blade Frenzy both unlock his AR chaining. Or wait, yeah, no it isn't. Those are 16-hit abilities that also give triple cast for multiple turns. Well, once he starts getting triple cast, it feels fine. His AR, oh yeah, Blade Storm comes out of there. Oh, he can access it from the start of battle. I missed that earlier. Okay, so how do I say this? I'm not crazy about some of his AR chaining being hidden behind some cooldowns, even though they seem somewhat accessible fairly easily, as well as, you know, getting triple cast and everything like that. You know, I think that he is generally good. He looks to be a fairly nice hybrid partner for Aurora Fravia, except for their mismatch elements. You know, just having Octo Slash there. AR chaining. Fire and Earth is a couple of weird elements to put with AR chaining. Lunera doesn't chain with that. And looking into the future, Nagi with her Dark element. Fire and Earth just doesn't really jive with either of those, so I guess if you could find a way to put the element on them. But my general thought about Felix, he feels like a pretty strong character, but not necessarily better than Aurora Fravia, who is soon to be #1 anyway. So Felix feels fine if you're especially into hybrids. Personally, I think this guy just creeps the hell out of me. In terms of the sprite, it really does just creep me out. Yeah, it's hard to say that I really like it too much. So let's talk about both banners just to end this, because this video has been going on pretty much too long at this point, for me anyway. What do I think of both banners, all the units, and everything like that? Well, I think there's a lot of value to be had in the old units, specifically the fact that on this step-up banner for the old units, you are guaranteed that if a rainbow drops, it is one of those 3. I cannot underestimate the value of that. Plus, Kryla, I think, becomes a really nice debuffer in her 7-star. And I don't want to really talk more about it than that at the moment. Christine, I think, still has some really nice damage. And AoE Elemental Imbue is really, really good, especially with the debuff element or for the ice element. Yes, she's a single element, but she does the one element pretty damn great. And her elements were never going to match Transterra anyway, unless they gave her dark. And I feel that would kind of be lame. I like that Christine is just a ice element. And White Knight Knoll is just a really great magic cover tank now. So yeah, there's nothing to really complain about there. Tiana feels like a DPS and a Trans-Terra chaining partner that can also heal somewhat, but generally I'm not a super big fan of throwing weapons. Without getting her Super TMR, I feel like you're never going to be necessarily reaching her full potential, so yeah, that kind of doesn't really make me feel that great. And looking at Felix, well, Felix feels like a pretty good hybrid unit with some nice AR and Octo Slash chaining. Aurora Fravia just is so much better, even though she only has access right now, really, to one specific element. So, yeah, But more than anything, going after the new units, on the step-up banner, the fact is, if you do get a rainbow, it can be off-banner, and that kind of feels bad when you're pulling for specific units. So, yeah, taking a look at, you know, this, I have to give a bigger thumbs up to the older step-up banner, just because getting on-banner guaranteed rainbows is a very, very nice thing that should not be underestimated. And as for the new banner, well, if you already have the old banner units and you're looking for something new, yeah, I think Felix is probably good enough to have some fun with. And he's a fire-earth elemental chainer, which are two elements that we don't necessarily see as often. And Tiana has some pretty good elemental coverage and a good chaining partner for Transterra, just because their kits match pretty damn nicely. And Tiana has good ways of getting her quadricasting. Felix has good ways of getting his triple casting. But yeah, I think there's better stuff out there. So that's all for now. Look forward to the future where we will see some pull. Well, actually, for me, it's in the past. For you, it's in the future. I'll be doing some pull videos for the global side with the Christmas units on the old banner, because that's the one. Yeah, my lapis dropped. You know I did some summons. So that's all for now. I will see you next video. See you then, and have a great holidays. From me, Umber Rays.